everyone. It is Sunday night and we are coming to you live from inside of Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida to help you wind down your weekend with this week's latest and greatest in indie and small press comics. As always, I'm your host Shannon, aka Small Press Shann, and I'm here to talk to you about all the books that you're going to add to your comic pull list at your local comic shop. And as always, it's going to be a lot, so just get a pen and paper and start taking notes because you're going to want them all because they're all fantastic. It's not a big week. It's just like a normal week. There's only like 30 books. It's totally normal. But if you don't have all 30 on your pull list, I'm sorry for your pocketbook next week because you're going to want to add them on there. As always, if we're going to wind down our weekend, before we do anything else, we need to know how we're winding it down. So this week we are drinking Bastante Bien, which means extremely good according to the back of the bottle. I read that it was like pretty good on one of the translators. Like, not the wine was pretty good, but that's what it meant. So somewhere in there it means that it's good, of some quality, and we are going to see if it is pretty good or extremely good as we drink it. But it is a Malbec, which means, of course, Argentinian, and it is supposed to have flavors of coffee, spice, and fine white pepper, which I really don't know what the white pepper tastes like. So we get the blended pepper. Matt just reminded me because I was like, do I know what white pepper tastes like? And we get the blended pepper, but I couldn't tell you, like, if you just sorted out white pepper, what white pepper tastes like. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's extremely good. It may be pretty good. I'm not really sure. We're gonna find out. So I'm gonna take a drink really fast. It smells good, which compared to last week, which we did not like the smell of that wine. So I'm like, it smells nice. That's good. Right? It smells like... It tastes like a Malbec.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah. It's honestly like putting, like, good, like, it is good. Like, I feel like whatever adverb that you put to modify the adjective of good in front of it works, because it's good.
Plummy and red cherry.
It is, and like that's not listed at all. I guess it is. It says beautiful black and blue fruit, so I'm guessing you might be blackberries and blueberries. But I mean, plums might fall into that category. I don't know. Do plums grow in Argentina? I don't know. I don't know my geography of fruits well enough to know. But, I mean, black and blueberries would also come into this flavor palette, so. That's nice. And it says it's a fun and fresh wine, and I definitely think it is. This is a picnic wine to me. Like, if I was going to, like, a 4th of July picnic, and I knew I was going to eat that, like, 4th of July cake, that's the white, like, angel food cake with all the strawberries and blueberries and things like that, this would taste so good with that, because it's got that blackberry, blueberry kind of taste to it, but it's still very light, so it would taste nice with hot dogs.
I think it would be good with meat and potatoes too, like on a dinner, like a fancy dinner.
Dinner. That could be nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll see how it opens up too, because it's not peppery yet.
Yeah, it's not peppery yet, and I think the peppery part, when you add that in, is going to be what makes it taste good with like a traditional like meat and potatoes kind of dinner. I think everything goes well with potatoes though, so don't take my word for it when it comes to that. So I'm going to slide this over. As always, just to recap our week that we had here at Bat City, we had a really, really great time yesterday. It was the Bradenton Art and Music Festival. It was the inaugural Bradenton Arts and Music Festival, which was really, really cool. Shout out to Realize Bradenton, which is the like events arm of the city. And our good friend Christy for just really taking that and running with it. They had said like, there might be like 8,000 people, and their count yesterday was 12,000. So thanks Bradenton for showing up for some art and music, and there was tons of it. There were so many cool things. There was like the Meandering Market had so many local artists and vendors in it. There were people walking on stilts and doing like clown art. There were our friend Hannah from Hannah's Enchantments was doing like dinosaur design, like your own dinosaur. There was bands on 3 different points of the Riverwalk. There was, and all day long, there was just like people, like you could paint. They had like a spray paint thing around the tower on the Riverwalk where you could go and like spray paint whatever you wanted on there. But we're really excited because the Real Ace Bradenton team was kind enough to give us almost a full quarter mile of the Riverwalk to talk about comic art and really showcase it. So thank you so much to them, and thank you to everybody who helped make that a reality for all of the amazing 12,000 people who came out. So shout out to Adrian Prudhomme, Dogface Illustration, for not only being there and selling his awesome art, which you can buy for yourself on our Bat City t-shirts, or our Dick Tracy exclusive cover, but he also live painted a portrait of Invincible throughout the day, which was really, really cool to see. There's people standing there taking videos and everything all day. If you did take video or photos of Adrian painting that, please tag Dogface Illustration on Instagram, because I know he'd love to see your videos. We also had the one, the only Gary Barker, artist of Garfield, the person who's created like pretty much all of our childhood obsession with that lovable lasagna eating cat. Gary was there. I saw so many people of all ages carrying around commissions of Garfield, so I'm super excited. So thank you, Gary and Joe, for coming out and being there all day. We had Tim Von Clote, TV Artworks, and his amazing wife Gretchen out there all day with his pop art, which is so cool. It was so great to hear him just like explain to people, like they're like, why did you pick this version of Batman? And he's like, because that's the one I love. And I'm like, that is what I want to hear people explain. Like, why did you do this art? Because I love it. And that's what I love to hear. We also had our amazing friend Anthony Pizzo Cartoons, out there doing sketches for people. They were super great. He actually had so many cool sketches that he did that I was super jealous of. I know I have one, but I have one from every event, which is always cool. We also had the amazing Katie out there. Katie was doing pet portraits for people, watercoloring on the spot pet portraits for people, which there were a lot of doggos yesterday. So I'm glad that Katie got to do some commissions of people's pets as they stood there for her. Nice dogs that posed. It was great. So it was really cool. We had Kelly, our comic librarian, our zine librarian from the Ringling College of Art and Design, out there making zines and talking about zine history and all of the cool things you could do with zines. She is actually taking all of the pages that people made and going to make a collaborative zine that you're going to be picking up here at Bad City, that is going to be the first ever BAM Fest zine. So you'll have to come by and pick those up once they're ready. And hopefully I can sneak attack all of our artists who are there into adding a page at the last minute. And a shout out to all of our amazing volunteers, Jason, Sammy, Sophie, oh my gosh, Santiago, of course, always there. Santiago even called in a favor and got his amazing friend, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, to come out for the kids to meet, which was really cool. We got to just, Kate was out there helping. We had Rebecca. There were so many volunteers, and it took all of them to do it. Mike for just driving to and from with his truck. Thank you, Mike, for being the physical labor, even if you didn't get to be at the event, and then like being here at the shop though, which was great. Like you came out and helped Matt, which all day, which was fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Everything we do could not happen if it wasn't for all of the incredible volunteers that show up to help my insane visions come to life, or Matt's insane visions of things to build come to life. So we have crazy ideas, and you make them happen. So thank you so much to all of our volunteers and all of our artist friends for coming out and helping us make that happen. And thank you to all of the families, the kids, the grandparents, the parents who went through our how to make a comic process with us yesterday and made their own panels, or who contributed to that zine. It was really cool to see everybody get involved and to learn all of the history of comics and stuff. And a huge shout out to our friend Mac from the Kiwanis for taking a ton of pictures of everything we had. So we're hopefully going to be sharing some of those awesome pictures. But again, if you have pictures of our stuff, tag at Bat City Comic Professionals, which is at Bat City Comic Books on the internet, because we'd love to see your fun that you had participating with us. And we can't wait for next year. It is going to be the first Saturday in April again next next year, so you should just go ahead and mark your calendars now so you don't miss it, because it's going to be bigger, better, and even more artful. That said, coming up this week at Bad City, we have this Thursday night at 7 p.m. is book club. We are reading the first issue of the first volume of I Hate Fairyland. So, going back, there's an image first of it. There's, if you got the volume 1 trade, you are going all the way back in time. Don't read that new number 1. First volume, number 1, I Hate Fairyland. It's going to be wild. I love talking about how crazy Scotty Young gets on that book. And then this Saturday, myself and Santiago, will be over at the Imagine School North Manatee location for Imagine School Con, which is really fantastic. It's always a fun time. There's going to be some great things. If you didn't get a chance to see Gary this last weekend at BAMFest, he will actually be at Imagine School, so you can meet him there. We will have a ton of comics for sale. Dan Zadia will be there. There's going to be trivia. There's going to be prizes. There's going to be a lot of fun, and it goes to support our friends at Imagine School North Manatee and the amazing Jason Wall and all of the things he does for the kids there. So please come out, support. It's a $10 Comic-Con, and it is always a good time. And then tons more coming up. Don't forget, April 19th is Academic Avengers Family Fun Day. It's free. It's fun. You don't want to miss it. Bring the whole family. And then, of course, May 3rd is Free Comic Book Day. So if that's not on your calendar yet, put it on there. There's going to be lots of artists out here. I just confirmed one today I'm super excited about. We'll be talking about that very soon. It is going to be a lot of our creators who are really, you don't want to miss them. And then there's going to be free hot dogs from the Good News Grillers on Free Comic Book Day. And, of course, there's going to be tons of free comics. So put it on your calendar, May 3rd, starting at 11. Get here and line up early. But if we're going to talk about comic books and how exciting they are and why you should be reading them, the most important thing we can do is talk about the comics that came out this week, because you can get those right now. So I'm going to kick it off with Sam and Twitch issue 12 from Image Comics. Okay, I've probably made this really clear while we talk about this, but I'm just going to remind you one more time. I have not read all of Spawn. I do not know the Spawn universe like in and out like a lot of people, but I can tell you I am kind of obsessed with this Sam and Twitch book. I love reading this story. It's so good, and you don't have to know anything about Spawn to read it. This is just detective story. It's about 2 cops who are in that universe that McFarlane created, Sam and Twitch, and they are struggling. Sam is really brash and usually gets in a lot of trouble for his behavior. Twitch is kind of a nervous person who is having some troubles at home and just really isn't kind of handling his life recently very well. And in the first arc of the story, Sam and Twitch got kind of suspended for a while because Sam made some bad decisions and it cost them both their badges for a minute. But Twitch went and worked with some friends, and in that he got in a big mix-up of trouble, and it kind of messed with his head. And then he came back, and now that trouble has gotten even worse for him. And so now Sam is working and Twitch is suspended. And he might actually be going down for a lot more. But in the last issue, we were left on a cliffhanger of Twitch getting shot in an alley. And we have been hoping and praying that he would be okay. But even being okay physically isn't enough, because Twitch is kind of really seeing a lot of fallout from some issues that he went through over the course of this series. And we're going to see if he's able to make it. And meanwhile, we're going to see if Sam can clear his good name. It's crazy when the off-the-wall person has to become the serious one. It makes for great character development, and we're seeing that a lot in this book, which is really great. Powerpuff Girls, issue 9 from Dynamite Comics. There is never a point where the Powerpuff Girls just don't make you happy, and this is another one of those happy, feel-good experiences from the Powerpuff Girls that left me laughing a lot, because in this issue, they find out from Mojo Jojo that there's a battle of the bands, and they're like, oh my god, we should create our own band. And the book is so funny because it's like, there is nothing more intense and exhilarating than starting a band, and then 2 seconds later, the girls are fighting because they don't want to play the same kind of music, and then the narrator is like, there is nothing anything more intense and exhilarating than the breakup of a band. And it's literally like 2 panels later. And so each of them go off to find people that they can make their kind of music with, and it ends up putting them each paired with one of the villains that are notorious in the Powerpuff Girls universe. And they all are like, we're going to win. It's going to be great. It's going to be so much fun because we all get to just have fun playing our kind of music. But they're all paired with villains, and villains cheat, and so the girls find themselves all kind of at each other's throats because of their villain counterparts making bad choices, and they realize that the most important thing, of course, is the band that they have of saving the world. It's fun, it's great. They're all standalone issues, so you can just jump into it and love it. All right, here's the thing. I'm going to show you this next book. I have a copy, and like 4 other people have a copy because the cover A's haven't come in. So if you, they'll be here on Wednesday, but I hope, fingers crossed. But this book came out 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to talk about it. It's Hello Darkness, issue 9 from Boom Studios. If you haven't read it yet because you shop at Bad City and you're a cover A reader and it hasn't come in yet, close your ears, cover your eyes, don't listen to anything I'm about to say. But everybody else, let's talk. So there's a couple different stories in here. The first one is called Teacher's Pet. And it's a very Stepford Wives kind of moment because but with children. So I guess disturbing behavior if you're a kid of the 90s. It's all about kids who act out in their class, because they're tired of everybody else being teachers' pets, and then learning exactly, what the teacher expects and how you, can really get on her good side. And then we have, Be Not Afraid, which it actually calls it a sneak peek, and so I'm wondering if there's going to be more to come from that. But it is about a woman who has a son who's fully formed when he's born, and he kind of seems to make a lot of weird things happen, but he swears he's an angel. He's very much more demonic, and we're going to see where that goes. And I really do hope there is a longer story for that because it's great. And then we have a story from Sarah Anderson that's called The Witch, and it's about a girl who really wanted a woman burned at the stake when she was a child because she was like terrified of her and she thought she was a witch. And then she's kind of haunted by the pieces of the witch that didn't burn in the fire. There is, I don't want to spoil that page. I always hate it because I always want to show you the awesome hack pages because Robert Hack does these really cool 1-page comics in here every month. But they're always on like the spoiler page, like connecting for the story before. But we do have one more story we have another story in here from Cinna Grace, which is all about a kid that essentially gets sucked into the Buffy universe and thinks his knowledge of the show is going to save him and make him cool. But it turns out being an ultimate fanboy doesn't necessarily save you from monsters and bad decisions. And then the last story in there is called A Time for Reflection, and it's all about a woman who comes home after her mother is killed, and she's realizing that all her family just kind of hates her, and she kind of hates all of her family, and she is not very happy to find out that they weren't really there for her, and the reasons why. And we kind of see that family dynamic and the continual family trauma that comes from generations. Anyway, hopefully this will be here for the rest of you on Wednesday, but for those of you who did read it, I hope you enjoyed it. I Heart Skull Crusher issue something. Issue 8. There it is. Also from Boom Studios. Glad this came in this week. Missed it. So happy it's back. Always a fun time. This is a story of Trini, who lives in the wasteland, which she's a wastelander in the post-apocalyptic world, where basically a screaming paintball is the sport of choice, and basically it's an extreme murder ball where they will actually kill you. And you score points for killing people, so it's it's easier to kill people than it is to actually score in the game, so a lot of people do that. Well, over the course of the last 8 issues, she has found herself building a team and then having that team kind of torn apart by their success and everything, because the capital essentially in the Hunger Games-esqueness of this doesn't want this team of outlying people to be good. And so they have to, of course, come up with a way to pull them all apart, and essentially sacrifice them, because for them, Screaming Paintball is all just about the Hunger Games. And so they're the capital rich people are just we just want to see these people tear themselves apart until they die. And the fact that this team is working together doesn't work. But now Trini is having to face all of her original teammates in battle, and it's getting crazy. you got to catch up. You got to get that first arc and just dive into I Heart Skull Crusher because it's so good. It's so good. Galaxy of Madness, issue 8 from Mad Cave. The most important thing I can tell you about this issue of Galaxy of Mad Cave is that the last page teaser is like, are you confused? Are you not sure what's happening? Good, because neither are we, so read the next issue. And I was like, this is exactly what I needed at the end. So Galaxy of Madness is the story of this girl who has lived most of her life on essentially a space archaeologist ship. And her parents have gone missing, and she's been raised by her adopted father, who is like their old partner and her godfather. Well, turns out he's not really a good person, and he might be the very reason her parents are missing, but he's definitely up to no good, and we're not really sure what that is. And that's kind of where we left it at the end of the first arc. And now in the last couple of issues, we have been experiencing what's this, like this god helmet type thing. And in this issue, it's sending us into different worlds, which I love that they go into essentially the Eternals. And the art style and color palette and everything just becomes exactly what the Eternals is. And it's like, oh, if you're going to have this giant god with this giant helmet, it kind of becomes like really like, why not? And so they kind of just start telling this story and of the past, and you're seeing a little bit of information about her, and the whole conspiracy and stuff. But then it's like suddenly they're in like the Sin City world, and the art kind of changes to that, and you're like, I don't like, and you're getting pieces of the past, and you're getting to see also like the true nature of this godfather and what he may be up to, and like maybe the truth of what happened to her parents is lying within there, but you're like, at the same time, I'm going to show you this because it's wild. At the same time, you're like, I have no idea what the crap is happening in this arc. Like, it feels so not like just the sci-fi book of going and traveling through time and like space anymore. Like, what is happening? And again, they're like, hey, by the way, you're not supposed to know. We don't want you to know. It's all supposed to be confusing. This arc is a big giant mess on purpose. Stick with us next issue. You might be more confused, but we're getting somewhere. And I'm like, I cannot wait for the somewhere. But I love that we've been going through all these different kinds of stories and these different kinds of experiences in the last couple of issues, and the different art styles. It's super cool. All right. Gotcha Man, issue 8, also from Mad Cave. It is a great Mad Cave week. I will say that right now. So if you have been following along, in the last issue of Gotcha Man, we had a weird toxic chemical like kind of spill out over the city, and when the Science Ninja team went out to try to repair it, one of their masks got broken, and the guy like turns to the bad side. You know, he's like, it's Joe, who has a chip on his shoulder anyway, but he is like, oh, I'm going to use this opportunity to beat you, Ken. Like, I know we're supposed to be best friends and on the same team, but I hate you. And he's like trying not to, of course, Ken's holding back punches because he's like, no, you're just being controlled by this like evil, like rage-inducing stuff. And he's like, why don't you take off your mask and we'll find out. And we get this big battle. And meanwhile, like, we have some other, everybody else is in trouble. And the people back home who have been constantly the entire series, like, they're the second string team, are like, hey, like, they're obviously failing this mission. Like, they need us to come in. And the new trainer that they've brought in is like, you're not necessary. They don't need you to go out there. You need to just realize that you're never going to matter, and you're never going to be like the Science Ninja team. And you're always just going to be B-list people. And you're like, where's this going? And you kind of get an idea of where that's going and what is going on behind the scenes at the Science Ninja team academy, essentially. It's a mess. These guys need to work some stuff out. They kind of work out some of it in this issue, but man, is there a lot going on. Terminator, issue 6, from Dynamite. Okay. So, if you're a big Terminator movie fan, one of the things that you probably have said at some point is, like, you don't, like, I kind of just want to see more of, like, how the war started, or more of the war itself and things like that, because a lot of times they're just like, It's inevitable, but then it never actually happens, which is why I like Terminator Salvation, because you actually get to see the movie, or the war in the movie. If you feel that way, this issue of Terminator is for you, because this is actually told from the narration point of Skynet, and it is talking about them trying to build at this point the T-600, because they are trying to figure out how to send a Terminator back in time, and they're trying to figure out how to do it. And so this is them actually creating the bubble software that they send the people back in time, and them actually trying to figure out what the exoskeleton on the robot itself has to be in order for it to go back and look like a human. And they talk about blending in with humans and how that's so important and how they need to adapt, but they can't find the right material to make it out of. And meanwhile, they're talking about all the other things that aren't working, and they just all the different processes they do to kind of take over. And so it's really interesting to see. It's also interesting to see how the machine learns from what we're doing, and how even when we're I don't want this to happen, we have to stop it. We kind of train the machine in what doesn't work at the same time, which is a really interesting thing to see in a world right now where there is essentially the idea of Skynet kind of coming into fruition, and we're what do we do to stop it? And it's every time you put something up, the machine kind of learns from that. So it's really interesting to read this issue. But again, I was so fascinated, because you're oh, they just always had this machine, and then it's oh, they build it you learn in Terminator Salvation, and then it's ooh, but then they just nail it on the first try. No, this is how you get to learn about what the process was. Hornsby and Halo, issue 5 from Image Comics and the Ghost Machine imprint. I love this book. It's so much fun. And I do love it because it is an all ages, adjacent enough title that anybody can jump in and read it. And it kind of goes at a good pace for any age to read it. But this is about two kids who are about to essentially turn 13, and one is a demon child and one is an angel child, and they are essentially the only ones who can bring about / stop the apocalypse and everything. And so they've been sent to Earth, and the devil child is being raised by the best people on the planet, and the angel child is being raised by the worst people on the planet. And they just happen to also go to the same school and be in the same small town. And these kids' paths have crossed enough times that they know who each other are, and now their powers are starting to come to manifest into reality, and they're kind of freaking out, and the only people they can turn to is each other, which has now put these two kids together in a way that we never wanted them to. And the person who's supposed to be protecting them and making sure that the end of the world doesn't come about and that they're prepared for it when the time comes has now revealed himself to them, and they are not really sure that they trust this guy and or want to be a part of anything that is happening. But these kids are not really in a position to make that decision, because they've got to save the world, and it's getting to the point where stuff's gonna start hitting the fan. And so we're gonna see if they actually accept their powers and go on. Speaking of Ghost Machine, we also have issue 5 of Hyde Street. You know Hyde Street, you love it at this point. Everybody is talking about it, and I love that because it is such a great title. But this is, if you read the Devour one-shot, this is actually about the woman who owns the Devour, the store that they sold the Devour stuff from. If you didn't, you're going to find out about her in this issue, and you don't have to have read the Devour one-shot to come in. So this is going to tell you all about a woman named Mrs. Goodbody, who in her regular life was actually a fitness workout person. She ran the yoga classes and stuff, and in the very beginning it shows her just kind of berating people and being a really bad person. And she has a lot of things that she causes to happen that lead her down to Hyde Street. And if you haven't read Hyde Street yet, basically in this series, eventually every person gets their comeuppance, and they get it on Hyde Street. And the offer essentially to leave Hyde Street, which is a pocket universe with bordering ours for bad people, the way to leave that is you have to collect enough souls of more people and turn them into the soul collector. And we've been following Mr. X-Ray and a young kid who is a wild on, like, does not, like, imp of a kid who does not want to leave Hyde Street but wants to just collect all of the souls he can. And Mr. X-Ray is like, I'm never going to get off this street, and neither are you, Miss Goodbody, because he's going to steal all of the people, and we need to work together in order to stop this kid. And everybody is afraid of Pranky. He's terrible. But this book is so great. It's so good to see, like, what it is that makes people a bad person and what it is that, like, pushes each person over the edge to be, like, a bad person to, like, an actual terrible human being. And just kind of how they serve that comeuppance from then on, which is by leaning into their badness, essentially. And so it's fantastic. It's one of the most creative things, honestly, I've seen Jeff Johns do on his own. And I'm really excited to see, like, where he's going with this and what he's going to build out from it. Juvenile, issue 5 of 5 from Image Comics. I will tell you, I was so excited about the end of this book and how they wrapped it up that it almost went into the picks of the week just because of the metaphor that it essentially creates in the end. But if you have not read Juvenile yet, it is about a future, a possible future where basically all children, when they get to, like, their certain age, they start to develop powers, and we find out that the kids don't really know how to control them because they're teenagers and their emotions are crazy, and it's led to a lot of problems in the past. And so now they've created these centers where they're basically, like, drugging the teenagers to not have powers anymore, and all kids kind of have to, like, be raised in these different centers. And if you start to get your powers beyond your pills, they essentially just lobotomize you so that you can never tap into them. Well, this center of kids has figured out what is going on, and they want out, and they have been about to do just that. And so this is kind of the big climax of them trying to get out, and we learn a lot about the connections between the kids and to the people who are in charge, and just what that power can really do in this. And again, there was just, like, this really big, beautiful metaphor for kids and teenagers especially, and the struggles that they're having and the feeling of being alone. And they really wrapped this up really beautifully. You should read it. Speaking of wrap-ups, Missing on the Moon is wrapping up at issue 4. This is also from Mad Cave. This is a detective story in space in an alternate timeline in the 1990s. That is so sci-fi, everything I just said. But we have been following a man who was a detective who has been trying to figure out what's been going on with these missing kids, and all the stuff that's kind of been happening on the moon where they live. And he's doing it for his own reasons. Basically, he lost his own child, and he's been trying to kind of redeem himself by saving the other kids. And what he's realized is that the government is really corrupt on the moon, and he needs to kind of side with the rebellion at this point if he's going to figure out what's going on. And the rebellion is really just all of the people that they've pushed into the slums and things like that. And so he's working with them, and in this issue we kind of see him finally figure out exactly what's been happening, where all the kids have been going, what's been going on. He also learns the truth behind what happened with his own child, which really leads him to make some big decisions in this. And I am not going to show you anything else, because everything I've shown you is probably a spoiler already to the climax of this book, because so much happened in this issue. I love it because issue 1 was very, like, informational. Like, you felt like you were reading a sci-fi novel where it was like, here's the world, here's the timeline. They actually give you the entire alternate history timeline. It was like, here's everything you need to know about this detective as he goes in this mission. And then, like, this issue is just like, and here is the wrap up, and it's crazy, and all the action and all the reveals and third act of the movie all completely in that issue. Night of the Slashers, issue 4 from Magma. This is the end of this as well. If you haven't read Night of the Slashers yet, it is about a group of high school kids who, on their way back from a field trip, their bus ends up pulling into a random small town, because it's starting to have some, like, it runs over some stuff and it starts to have some problems, and they all get stuck in this town. And essentially there is a curse on this town where one night of the year everybody in the town becomes a giant monster of some sort. And because nobody new ever moves to the town anymore, all the monsters have started attacking themselves. And so they're always hungry for fresh meat, and we've seen each of them kind of get attacked. Each of the students kind of get attacked and taken out. And of course, we're coming down here to our final girl kind of situation, final situation in general for the people. And again, I'm not going to show you anything else because this book has lots of twists and turns in it throughout the whole 4 issues to build up like what this world is and how it's come together. And this would be like if I told you what happened at the end of Scream kind of thing, if I reveal everything to you right now. So just read it. All slashers have a good, twist. You gotta have a twist. Like, that's a whole thing. We talked about it. Randy taught us that. Stu taught us that. They all taught us that in Scream. Cruel Kingdom, number 4 from Oni Press and the relaunch of EC Comics. This is our sword and sorcery, like fantasy style EC stories where something bad always happens at the end of them. And so the first story is all about a girl who is trying to protect her brother, so she joins up with this elite group of people and is training to work with the headmistress, and she's like, you have to do the things you wouldn't necessarily agree with just to be a part of this, otherwise the headmistress herself will kill you. And we see how that plays out for them. And then we have a story that is a new retelling of Cinderella, and Cinderella kind of taking some matters into her own hands in order to deal with the prince that she's always wanted. I love it because I love dark twists on Cinderella, because if you've ever read the original Cinderella, it's a dark twist. It is a horror book essentially, and so it's nice to see some dark Cinderella stories. And then we have another one that is about a woman who ends up something happens to her son and she's worried he's going to die, so she has a sorcerer bring him back from the dead. And it's never good when you bring them back from the dead, and you get like a Pet Cemetery kind of story essentially out of this. And everybody gets their comeuppance in ways that they need to. Magic and Malice is basically how they describe this, and it's always a perfect way to do just that. So, and they're anthologies, so you can pick up whichever one looks appealing to you when it comes to any of the EC anthologies of horror, sci-fi, fantasy. We've got DuckTales, issue 4, from Dynamite. This has not been episodic in the sense that you can pick up one and be done. All of the cartoon books that have been like the kid ones have all been that way. I know Thundercats is not as well. But all of them, for the most part, have been like, oh, you can kind of like jump in and jump out, and there's like an overarching story, but there's also just like, they're episodic even still. This is one big story, and so this is all about Uncle Scrooge trying to help Huey, Zooey, and Louie find Duckburg's greatest treasure. And they have been on this adventure for a while, and the map has now led them to the place where everybody needs to go if you're going to find a treasure of any kind, which is the library. And man, what a great library Duckburg has. But while they're there and they're looking for the next piece of the puzzle they need, they come across the one person who can help them, but also can hinder them because they are making way too much noise in the library, and the librarian is not about it. Also, they're writing on the books, and they're all like, why is the librarian being a jerk to us? And I'm like, have you seen how you're treating the books, kids? We don't write on books like that. Uncle Scrooge better make a large donation to this library in the end. But they are looking for the next part of the map, and it's so great because in the end, the most important, that's all ads, the most important part of this story is like that librarians are really the superheroes of the world. And that's really what you're supposed to walk away from this issue. And I think, honestly and truthfully, you should walk away with that from every book that you read. Whether a librarian's in it or not, you should just take away the fact that librarians are superheroes from everything you read. But DuckTales issue 4 is definitely trying to make sure you see that. And when in doubt, go to the library. All right, we've got some number 3s. We've got The Lucky Devils number 3 from Image Comics. This is the latest book from the team behind Curse Words and 8 Billion Genies, neither of which are connected to this story, although we do get to see a little bit of connection, like a teaser kind of thing in there from one of them. But so anyway, this is all about two devils who are a married couple. And in this world that basically devils have to kind of cause you to sin, but you only get like paid and have good experiences based off the way that the amount of influence your person has. It's like, oh, if you cause somebody to sin and like nobody really sees it, you don't really have that much of an impact on the world. So they're trying to figure out how to get the people they've been assigned to have more influence. And these two devils have actually figured out that they might get more influence if they were good people. And so they're actually helping these people have a better life, and kind of climb up the social ladder in that capacity. And so these demons are kind of doing some bad things on the side, but their people aren't sinning. And so they're like, hey, if we just get them to the top of the influence, it doesn't matter if they ever actually sin, because as long as we're helping like people with big influence, we get to live at the top of hell, and we get to have the good spots, and we get to get the big jobs. And so they're like, we don't actually have to be bad demons at all. And so this has been working really well for them, except now they finally have reached level 4 demon, and that means paperwork. And it means an audit. And so the investigator is coming, who's supposed to move them up to the next level, is going to actually audit the work that they're doing and see if how bad the people that they're influencing have become. And these devils have to figure out how to deal with that little work hiccup as they have it. I love it because it's Charles Soule, and so it is always the most off-the-wall, ridiculous concept that also has the most grounding in everyday life problems. Like, hey, your boss is going to audit your work, and you've been cutting corners. How are you going to get out of this? But also you're a demon, and you're trying to, like, influence people to sin. And it's like, I love it. It's so random. It's so great. Before we get to the next book, I'm going to take another drink of this wine. We are drinking Bastante Bien, which is a Malbec, and I'm really excited to see how it's opened up now that we're like halfway through. The smell smells spicier. Matt's nodding. I'm like, is it spicier?
Yes. Spoiler alert.
Oh, wow, that's way spicier. Ooh, yeah, you get all the pepper. Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Oh my gosh, do I need to go to Argentina and just drink Malbecs the whole time?
Probably read a lot of books there.
Probably could. That's delicious. That is really good. It is extremely good. So, as they weren't lying by naming it that. Extremely good. All right, we're going with their definition. Definitely beats the Google Translate saying it was pretty good. All right, we're going to keep with the devil for a second, and we're going to go to Big Burn issue 3 from Distillery. Finally! We've had such a delay in our Distillery books. I've been waiting for this forever. I'm really excited to tell you that there will not be delays in Distillery books for much longer. They have a new distribution company, so hopefully we'll be seeing our Distillery books come faster. But if you haven't jumped into the Big Burn yet, it is like Ocean's 11 in hell, essentially. There is a couple that was really great thieves. They end up selling their souls to the devil so that they can always have like the perfect heist. And then they realize that there's no fun in the perfect heist, and there's no fun in their relationship or anything because they don't have souls to enjoy it. And the man in the couple is really sad because he ends up losing the girl, and that's all that really ever mattered to him, and that was why he enjoyed doing the heist. And so he puts together a team so that they can rob hell of their souls. And in this issue, they are finally going under, I guess, the best way to say it. And they get to take it on one by one. And it's so cool because I am obsessed with Ocean's 11 and things like that. And so it's great for me because I always love when you're like, ooh, what are they going to do? Oh, is it not going to work? Oh, do they have a different plan? Oh, are they going to do this? Oh, it's still not going to work. I love those moments. I just want to, I have to go crazy for them the whole time. And this in the IMAX form and the distillery of it all is fantastic. Again, can't show you anything though because this is the end, and that everything past that page that I just had up is a giant spoiler for all of the like cool twist. But I do want to say that this page that I just had up, this double page spread, this is what the souls look like. in hell, and it's really cool because it's basically like the thing that you like, the actual item that meant the most to you in the world is the shape that your soul takes. And so like there's like teddy bears and like bicycles and different things like that, and I think that's just really cool that you know, we always say like, oh, like you can't, your soul isn't the things that you love, but then it actually is in this book, like the thing that you loved is your soul. And it's really good. All right, we've got Ripperland, issue 3 from Dark Horse. If you haven't started this book yet, this is kind of another murder mystery in a theme park, but also completely 100% not that at the same time. So basically, this is a world where England is failing and America bails it out, but decides that the thing that they like about England is the Victorian time period, and so they force England to basically become a Victorian, like all of England to become a Victorian period theme park that Americans can go back to and experience. I don't know what tuberculosis is. I don't know why we would want to go back to the Victorian era. No, so they can go back and have those great experiences that they've read about in books. Well, the thing is that if you're going to go back to the Victorian era, you're also going to have to deal with Jack the Ripper. And so we essentially see ourselves having a Jack the Ripper style set of murders happening, and it starts with the son of the richest man in the world, who has now sent over an American detective to deal with it because he doesn't trust that the detectives who are essentially Sherlock Holmes are going to be able to solve the mystery of what happened to their family member who has been killed. And so now we've got these two detectives teaming up, the modern and the past detective, and they're trying to figure out what exactly happened to this person. And we're seeing more murders starting to happen and more mysteries starting to unravel, and we are learning that there's something afoul in this world, and we are going to have to see if they can solve this mystery. But again, they have to do it all with like Victorian time period clues and it's stuff. And it's so funny because you've got the modern guy who's like, I hate all of this and stop talking like that, and they're like, we're not allowed to, like, we're legally required to be this way. And he's like, I hate this place. But does he really? Does he? I don't know. We're gonna see if they can figure out the mystery. Monkey Meat, issue 2 of volume 2 from Image Comics and Junibaugh. This is a really great satire world that Junibaugh has created, all about, and if you did not read volume 1, you are okay to just jump in here. I'm going to show you this amazing page right here. This is Junibaugh talking about essentially the problem with corporations, and it's all about like a corporation that has turned an island where they do all of their manufacturing into a tourist destination. And so it's like you see all of the problems with tourist destinations and all of the problems with corporate greed and all of the problems with manufacturing and all the problem with treating your employees bad all at the same time. And so in this story particularly, we're dealing with some people who are employees of and connected to the monkey meat world, and just kind of the problems that they have with that. They are, I love this, it's like this tasty anthology is back with 2 stories per issue in games, and so you're actually going to get 11 issues total overall. But the first one in this one is all about a woman who's basically like, I want my partner back and I will do anything for them. And then we get, again, you get some like book recommendations, you get some island recommendations, you get some fun ads that are fake for this place that you can visit. It's the whole thing, it's kind of like a Man-Eaters, and how Chelsea Kane did all of the fun stuff with that. And then we get this tale of essentially a group of like the you know, like the people on the island who wanted somebody to come in and save them, and this person comes to save them, and they're like, oh, but not like that, and we don't really believe that you're like who you say you are and the things you say you are. And it's just kind of a really great analysis of how we are looking for this perfect person all the time instead of just like the person who could actually solve like most of our problems. We're like, if you can't solve all of my problems, I don't want anything to do with you. And so it's a really interesting way to look at that, because it definitely fits into a lot of modern day problems, which the whole thing is a great commentary on. Very like Upton St. Clair's The Jungle, which is kind of why they put it in this like jungle type setting. I love this ad. Braino Jello Monkey Jello is now virus free, and it's like a giant brain on a popsicle stick. It's great. Every single inch of this is just a fantastic parody and satire of the corporate world and everything that we deal with. Again, you got to check it out. And we do have volume 1 in stock, unless we sold them all this week, of Monkey Meat, but you don't have to read it to read what happens in volume 2, but you should, just because it's great. We've got the new volume of Darkwing Duck, issue 2 from Dynamite. This is a relaunch. We just had a Darkwing Duck series, which kind of had like a whole universe building out of it, but this is actually relaunching all of that, essentially, and giving us another Darkwing Duck. It feels very Marvel-esque to say that, but this is it's really focusing more on Darkwing as a dad, and his role with Gosling. And so they talk about how he adopted Gosling, and while he's Darkwing Duck the hero, he's trying to also be a good dad. And in this issue, Gosling really wants Darkwing to like her, and wants to make sure that she has his pride and his love. And he tells her he wants to help her get the lead role in the school play. And so she thinks that that's the only way that Darkwing will be proud of her. So she lies and says that she got it, and ends up helping her new teacher, who says that he can get her a better role, because all she really gets is like Bush number 3. He's like, I can get you a better role if you work with me on this project. But if you're a Darkwing Duck fan, you know that this professor or teacher or whatever is not who he says he is. And there is I should have saved this something afoul for the Duck book. Really ruined that by not saving that. But anyway, there's something definitely wrong going on here, and Gosling has to kind of come to terms with that. And there's a really beautiful moment between daughter and daddy Duck to figure out just exactly the love that a parent can have for their adopted kid. It's not measured in their accomplishments, but it's just in the fact that they chose them and they love them. It's cute. I wanted to cry. Let This One Be a Devil, issue 2 from Dark Horse. This is a James Tynion book that I think a lot of people didn't realize was James Tynion until like a little bit later in the release of it. But it's James Tynion and Steve Fox writing it, and Peter Kowalski on art. So if you're a fan of like Where Monsters Lie and stuff, you should check this out. This is based on the story of the Jersey Devil, and so it is actually going back in time twice, because it is going back into like the early 1900s, but also into the 1700s. And we're getting to see what it was like when the Jersey Devil was born, but we're actually following a person who is kind of investigating the Jersey Devil and a reappearance in 1909. And so as they're doing the investigation, we pop back and forth into the time of like what really happened with the Jersey Devil and who they really are, while this person is kind of just going off of the wicked stories that everybody's seeing. And we do get to see in this one kind of a recount from somebody who's supposed to be a historian on some of the big moments that the Jersey Devil spotted between birth and 1909. And it's just that whole family history and lineage and how it kind of boils down into what the story has become, which is great, because we talk about, you know, how there's no such thing as like history. There's a thing as a history, because everybody's story changes it, and you get to kind of see that. Much like with Blue Book, at the back of all of the issues of Let This One Be a Devil, we do get other like true weird stories. So how Blue Book kind of gave us like weird one-off stories of alien invasions, the back of these give us just one-off stories that are all about like cryptids or other like monster type things that have happened in American culture. So it's really cool, because you kind of get like one big story and then like a little mini story at the back of every issue. Godzilla Heist issue 2 from IDW. I said I was going to bring the other cover. I wonder if we still have it. It is a great Tokyo drip, like Fast and the Furious, like kind of homage cover that's hilarious. But this is all about a guy who has essentially figured out how to take Godzilla, like contact Godzilla and kind of bring him into a certain area to attack. And it's not like Monsters and Protectors. He's not able to talk to Godzilla. He's just kind of able to essentially make enough noise that draws Godzilla into the area. And because of that, he's used that as a way to heist and do like robberies and things. And in the first issue, he kind of sets it up to where he's like, oh, he gets caught by these people and they're like, you're going to do the job for us. But in reality, he is actually, that's what he wanted the whole time. That is the job. He is trying to do this perfect crime of stealing back some cultural items that he really feels like need to be returned to his people. And he is hoping that being a part of this is going to get him the best team and also kind of give him some people that he can throw under the bus when the time comes. But of course, he needs Godzilla to do all of this. And in this issue, we also learn that there is some scientists working on some more things and some more connections as we are trying to build out this Godzilla universe a little bit, and some things that they may not have factored in as they begin their heist. It's going to all go really poorly. I already know. It's going to be bad, and that's going to make it good. All right, we've got a lot of number ones, honestly, this week. It was a big number one week. We're adding to our Spawn universe with Black Ritual, which is the Book of Nyx, issue 1 from Image Comics, obviously. And I guess I read the back stuff because I wanted to know this time. So Nyx is a character that appeared in Spawn issue 184 and a little bit before that, because that was kind of like the climax of Nyx's time in Spawn. And the creators of this book really wanted to give Nyx their own story. And so we see a little bit of what happened in Spawn 184, which is like the last big moment of Nyx, I guess, in Spawn. And then we see where Nyx goes from that moment. But Nyx is essentially a witch in the Spawn universe, and she did some work that helped with that, and then kind of got ousted from her area and was kind of on her own for a long time. And now in this book, she is coming back to New York City, and she's determined to kind of just go home and return home. Well, what's going on in New York City, though, is that there is this creepy guy who kind of looks like the one from Who Framed Roger Rabbit coming out and killing all the witches. And so Nyx thinks that the fact that she's like let in is like maybe the witches don't remember like what is coming for her. I love this, like almost like The Exorcist right here. Doesn't remember like what's coming for, like, or aren't mad at her anymore. Like, oh, the witches let me in, so they must not be mad. But in reality, with all of the killings going on, they feel like they need her, and there's going to be a big story opening up for Nyx as she returns to New York and all of the things that are going to happen. I'm really excited. I think this is going to be like Sam and Twitch for me. Other characters from the Spawn universe that I didn't know existed that I kind of end up really enjoying their stories that are going to fit on their own and not really need Spawn to be a part of it. And I think it's really cool that we're getting those stories kind of like the Hellboy universe for Spawn. We've got Boris Karloff Thriller from Gold Key issue 1. This is reprint of different Boris Karloff Thriller, like essentially strips, mini stories. They're like they're like a page or two long kind of stories. But the first one is a story about a woman who is in a circus. She's a circus performer. She trains the big cats, and she is currently dating the guy who does the trapeze, and he wants to propose to her, but her little cat, not the big cat, seems to be a danger and is threatened by him, and we see exactly how far that cat can actually take that, and we talk about the powers that cats have in the story. And then we have one called The Crystal Ball, which is all about a guy who goes to somebody who can see future in a crystal ball and is like, oh my gosh, like, tell me where we can find these jewels and we can do these heists and we can start robbing people with the crystal ball. Like, let's be on heist together. And then he kind of like screws over the guy that can see the future, which seems like a terrible idea in my opinion. And that guy gets framed for all of the robberies that he's doing. And, again, comeuppance. It always happens, especially in these like golden age kind of silver age kind of comics. And then we have Blind Man's Bluff, which is all about a guy who is a race car driver and an accident he gets into, and the person who caused it starts to have their own trauma experiences of seeing things that may not be there and kind of being haunted by the decisions that they made. And then the last one's crazy. I'm not even sure if I even know what really happened. It's so Inception at the end, but it is called The Dreamer, and it is about a guy that's talking about this terrible dream that he's having, which is essentially putting him on like the Titanic, and he's telling the whole story to a psychologist, but the psychologist might also be the problem. I don't know. It got wild and the layers got deep, and I was like, ooh, I can't tell if the guy's awake or dreaming, and I love it. It was fantastic. Anyway, this is great. Again, one shot. They're Boris Karloff selects because they're just like the thriller books, like fun things that, you should check out.
These stories are reprints.
They're reprints. It's all reprints. They actually tell you at the beginning that they're drawn from the classic issues. So they're from Boris Karloff's Gold Key Mysteries. And so they're all from, these particular ones are all from issue 1 and issue 2 from 1962 and 1963. That sounds like Silver Age. But yeah, it's all just like picked choices from those. We've got Solomon Kane issue 1, and this is The Serpent Ring, and this is from Titan Comics. You can, Solomon Kane, I guess, has like this massive world in the Heroic Legends series, which is available in like novel form as well. But this is a story of him on a path where he is essentially working on a ship for like the Queen, and he's a member of the Royal Navy essentially, and he kind of feels like there's no difference between him and the pirates that they're sending him after, and he's kind of offended by the fact that like they keep sending him to take all these pirates out, and it's like, what's the difference? Like, if I'm doing this and I'm taking out people who are jumping aboard ships and then taking all their treasures, and I'm now jumping aboard ships and taking people out and then taking all the treasure, isn't that just a pirate? And so he kind of wants to get away from all that, especially because they end up making a decision and going after somebody who is not actually the captain of the ship. And he, and his guilt, is given something that is like, hey, please take this back to my family. And so we get to see the family, of course, and the situation that they're dealing with as Solomon Kane is actually working his way essentially to them for whatever mysterious item he's given. And we're kind of going to see how those two stories intersect in the next issue, and what it is exactly that they gave him seems to be leading Solomon to some danger that we don't even see off screen as we kind of start to follow that family more. And I'm curious to learn what exactly happened in those in-between pages. We've got Ghost Man, and this is from Cosmic Lion Productions. This is, I want to say it's just a one-shot. We might get more, but I think it's just a one-shot. With the tagline that Vengeance is scary. Yeah, it doesn't even say a number. But this does say book 1 at the same time. But this is all about, it follows a woman, essentially, who is trying to get out of a bad situation, and a mysterious vigilante ghost shows up to save her, and we see how that battle kind of plays out. But I kind of just love seeing a ghost fight things, and like it's like a guy in a ghost outfit. Like, I don't even know if he's actually really a ghost. We don't really ever see it, but it's like, I just kind of in my mind was like, is this Charlie Brown, like grown up and now a vigilante in his little ghost costume from Halloween? But it doesn't have holes in it, so obviously not. But we get this whole story. I don't want to show you something that is going to ruin it. But then we get to see like these little like mini vignettes of the Ghost Man and pinups, and it's got a lot of those in the middle. And there is a thing from the creator that was like, basically like, it's a character that he's thought of since he was like 12 years old, and he never really thought that he would get to the point where he could write a full comic. So he's got all these pictures of the Ghost Man from like throughout time and from other people who have done them, and just wanted to like include all of those. And then there is another story in the back that is not about Ghost Man, but it's another 12-page bonus story, and it is about some more corruption, essentially, and about some people who kind of go through kind of, it's almost like Ghostman, but it's not. But it's like a queen that sends people off to go find something that she's missing, and the battle that they kind of go through in order to get that and to take that like vengeance essentially that the queen is looking for. Definitely check it out if you're somebody who likes like the zine kind of stories and like something from Silver Sprocket. Like this is going to be another one that you might enjoy. Okay, I opened this, so this is my copy now, unless you don't mind an open copy, but this is Red Sonja Attacks Mars, issue 1 from Dynamite, and you obviously, if you know the font, then you'll know that this is Red Sonja Attacks Mars, because it's got the Mars Attacks aliens in it. So there was Mars Attacks Red Sonja, oh my god, how long ago was that, like a decade ago?
Like 6 years ago.
6 years ago? Okay. I mean, it's been since before. I mean, we were open, I guess, when it happened, right? Because we had it for the Lynn Brown signing.
Yeah.
And so this kind of references back to that. It is essentially a living sequel to it, though I think you can jump in because they kind of give you enough information. But it opens up with the Mars Attacks aliens kind of talking about what happened when they attacked Red Sonja and the obsession that the previous like science officer had with Earth and the Earthlings there. And then it flips to Red Sonja, who ends up saving this magic person and is like, hey, I want to save everybody, and they're like, you can't do that. We have to go after these people. We need to go to this place. And when they get to the place, Red Sonja learns that the aliens are not all gone, and there is something going on that they've been up to, and they basically have like new Mars on Earth, and it's dangerous, and Red Sonja is gonna have to do something about it. And so, like I said, we previously had Mars Attacks Red Sonja. Well, now Red Sonja is gonna attack Mars, and she's not messing around. She is ready to go. I'm really excited. This is written by Jay Stevens, who you may know from Dwelling, so I can't wait to see what, honestly, Jay does with the Mars Attacks aliens and the Red Sonja universe. But like, really, Jay Stevens writing Mars Attacks is something I'm really excited to check out. And all of the issue 1s, at least, have come with a trading card, and it looks like obviously, and they're not all the same. So this trading card, the covers match the trading card. So whatever cover you pick has it. It says collect all 12 cards. So I guess there's going to be cards with at least some of the covers. It says 4 issues, 3 cards. And it does say this is card 1 of 3. So this must be 1 of 3 for issue 1. And then there will be, 4 issues probably and 3 cards. But I'm excited to see where that goes. And I love that we're doing trading cards in comics. Like, especially like, Mars Attacks, you have to do trading cards with it. Like, Mars Attacks started as trading cards. So if you don't do a trading card for Mars Attacks, I feel like you've missed a golden opportunity. So, I'm glad they're doing it. We've got Monster High Bullseye. This is originally published in I Only Have Eye for You from the Monster High world, but they're doing these one-shots of great stories from Monster High right now while they make me suffer and not have more of the ongoing that has been so good. But this is the first of those, and so I am really excited. If you've never read it, this is a great way to get to know your Monster High characters. This is the story of Manny. Is his name Manny? Yeah, Manny Tor, because they all have the monster names like split up. So Manny Tor and Iris Klops. And so obviously he's the child of the Minotaur, and she is the child of the Cyclops. And they both kind of like each other, but it's followed from Iris's point of view, and so she can't really see that. In more ways than one, because of course she can't physically see because she's a Cyclops, all of her like peripheral vision, so she doesn't necessarily see like the cute things that happen on the side, but she's also just not really aware of the fact that Manny feels that way. And we're kind of seeing Manny, who's kind of bullheaded, not able to kind of communicate his ways, and it's so cute because they're both like clumsy and awkward in their own ways, and like not confident and in their own ways, even though they're both actually like pretty confident people. It's just a really, really cute story. Again, one and done for this, and we're gonna get another really cute story in the next one shot that's coming our way soon. But if you're a Monster High fan, this is a glorious time for you because all of the comics are fantastic, and it's so great to have Monster High back. We've got Plague House issue 1 from Oni Press. This is one I've been definitely waiting for, and I can't wait to see where it's gonna go. But this intro issue kind of gives us a little introduction to our characters. It is about 3 people who investigate haunted houses and the things that are happening in it. And you've got the guy who's kind of in charge that's like, oh, I definitely believe in ghosts, and I have all of these like things that I do to make sure that people are on my show and like watch the things that I do, and I'm always helping ghosts like find their way to safety. But then you have the person he brought on, which is like, first he has this one person who is a priest who definitely believes that every ghost is just a demon, and but he can see them and he can experience it, so it's important to have him. And then you've got the girl that's like the skeptic, and she's like, I don't see anything, nothing is here, but like all this stuff keeps happening around her. And then again you have him who's like, I definitely believe that ghosts are there. But it's kind of funny because like as he's talking about things, he kind of doesn't notice them in the background, and you're like, hey, does he not see that? Like, I see it. Does he not see it? But they are investigating this massively haunted house with murders that happen in it and all kinds of crazy things. And we are going to see if they can see what actually happened. But there's a lot of darkness and creepiness in this house, and I don't want to show you all of it because I want you to get all of the cool little twists and art, like hidden things in the art on your own. Okay, next up we have Polis. Or Polis, I guess, is really how it should be said, because it's about like a metropolitan, so like Polis, I don't know. Anyway, this is issue 1. It is a part of an anthology from AWA that is going to be talking about I want to find the right word. I read the whole introduction, and protopias. And protopias are kind of like, they said that there is utopias and there is dystopias, and then there's protopias. There you go. That's how we say it. And then there's protopias or prototopias. There you go. Protopias. We're gonna go with that. Anyway, they are essentially, a dystopia is where everything is collapsed and everything's terrible and bad, and like you gotta like try to rebuild. And utopias are a place where everything's great, but eventually they kind of collapse because of nothing can stay perfect forever. And protopias are kind of like, hey, this is the ideal city and it could work because it's actually flawed in all of the ways it needs to be, and essentially like we can see where this is going to go, and all the different things that have happened that have kind of led us to build this thing that's kind of saved us from this dystopian thing, but it's not perfect, so it's not a utopia. This issue is written by Mark Russell, who is essentially telling us, what if everything from climate change just like really kind of destroyed most of the world, and now there's like civil wars and things, and so there's been this a bunch of floating cities that have been created by the refugees, and they've kind of figured out the situation because they're not perfect, but they've kind of figured out how to adapt to things. And we are following the story of a girl who seems like she might be like a teenager or in her early 20s, and she still lives in Florida. And she's like, well, we kind of just thought everything that they were doing, like we thought they would sink, we thought they wouldn't really float. And it's like, well, and then that did happen, but it actually worked out better for everybody, and now I'm stuck here and everything's bad, and there's all these like people in wars and battles all the time. And she kind of just wants to figure out how to get she's like, there's something that ties us to the places we're in, and we always feel like we need to stay there, but so the thing that's tying her kind of disappears, and she's like, maybe I'll try for this floating city. And they do these really cool things where they like talk about like everybody gets a job, but we try to give you jobs you want, but like you do still have to work, and you still have to earn like your keep here, and you have to have these experiences. And so it's really cool to see how it's gonna play out. They are actually going to do there's this one, Polis, and then there's going to be Black Moon Ritual, which is going to be an Afrofuturistic world. There's Entanglement, which is going to be sibling rivalry, espionage, and like a tech world. There's going to be another one, Gaia, which is going to be like a scientist unlocking the power to control nature. And then the Purpose Project, which is going to be about somebody trying to find their purpose in traditional employment. And then the last one is going to also be from Mark Russell again, and it is going to be what happens when new experimental technology is allowed to literally live in someone else, like gives you the ability to live in someone else's shoes for a minute. And so we're going to see kind of like what those like different kinds of worlds could look like and what the flaws are to them and how they create an imperfect reality for us. It's going to be fun. Okay, I've got 3 picks of the week. They are not in order. Maybe they were, I don't know. We got 3 picks. First up is Pop Kill issue 2 from Mad Cave. With the first issue, I was like, this is really fun. I really love how, like, the genius concept behind it, but I wasn't sure if I liked the characters enough. Now I'm kind of intrigued by the twists and turns these characters are going in enough that I'm like, wow, your really interesting concept just got even more interesting. So if you don't know, it's about the soda wars, except they literally make them wars because there are the 3 people who own the 3 different soda companies. Like it's like Pepsi, Coke, you know, all that kind of stuff. And there's 3 different people that own them, and they all, of course, want to always be at the top of the food chain of that, much like the actual soda companies in real life. And there is a scientist who is working for one of the companies, and she actually figures out a way to essentially make soda never lose its carbonation. And it'll just like recarbonate, so it'll always taste fresh and perfect every time you take a drink. And so, of course, they all want this person to work for them. And so they send in this hitman who works for one of the soda companies because he's kind of in debt to them to get this woman to change to the other company. And he's like, does it all by trying to like seduce her and win her over, and then just like immediately comes out with it and is like, yeah, you should switch companies. Like, that's what I'm really here for. And it all goes really, really sideways really fast, which is kind of what I loved about it, because I thought it was going to be just about him being kind of skeezy, and it turns out that's not what the book's about at all. And so I love that we pivoted away from that, and yet he's still kind of like a total ladies' man, and I still kind of like don't get mad when he gets punched in the face and things like that. But there is more to it than meets the eye. There's definitely a lot going on, and we find out that like everybody kind of has their own team of like assassins and people to do the bidding of the people in charge of the sodas. And I love that they just take it so seriously. It is such an intense, incredible book for how like it's soda, and so it's so funny that it's become this massive like spy thriller, espionage, and assassination book, and it's also just at the end of the day like Willy Wonka, essentially, I think is the way that Santiago called it. He was like, it's essentially like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where there's like the 2 competing things, except it's like completely off the wall spy book. Really excited to see where this goes. Mad Cave obviously always throws out the best books. They've got so many good ones coming out this year, and you know, shout out to Jimmy Palmiotti, who will be at SiestaCon on May 10th, and you can buy your copies of Pop Kill and go get Jimmy Palmiotti to sign them. All right. We've got I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer, issue 1 from Image Comics, and Doug Wagner. And if you know me, you know that I love plastic. I love vinyl. It's so good. And I love that Doug is constantly giving us these like serial killers in like weird worlds that you wouldn't expect to see serial killer like craziness from. And so this one is no exception. I'm already in love with this story. It is about a girl who gets accepted into the New York fashion school of like design, and she's so excited about it. And she talks about how she makes her own clothes, and all the stuff that she does is all her own design. And they're like, oh, that's fine, but like, what is this material? And she's like, they're like, is it leather? And she's like, kind of. And she will never tell them like what her leather materials are made of. But she's got, of course, like the situation with like mean girls. Like she's got the rich people in her class who are driving her crazy. And we know that she's a serial killer. She tells us that on the page 1. And so she's like, I kind of just want to kill everybody, but I really want to do good in this school because I really want to be a fashion designer, and it's really my passion, and I can't kill people. And so she's always like kind of like scratching at like her neck and her arms, like whenever people annoy her, because she like breaks out in a rash because she's so angry about it. She does end up making a friend who's like that ultra good girl. You get kind of like your the Wednesday Addams, like with the cute best friend kind of situation going on. It's so great. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. Again, Doug Wagner always gives us like these emotional serial killer stories that are really good, and this one is going to be fantastic. I love the story of a person who is trying their hardest to like just be a good person because they want to learn and grow, but they have a dark past that they have to fight through. And then lastly, see, I told you, Mad Cave doing it right here for us, with Pastime, issue 1. It is baseball season. If you don't know, Matt and I are huge baseball fans. We love it. It's the one sport that we actually mostly keep up with. You know that you may know that Bad City is partnered with the Bradenton Marauders and have lots of cool, exciting things coming for you this year at our local team. So it's baseball season, and we're very excited about that. And this is such a great way to kick off the season. This is the story of baseball, except a little bit different. This is about some of the Barnstormer teams, and one of them in particular, and kind of the experiences that they had. And we are following along as a man is telling a story in a bar about a particular rise and fall of a player, and that player, it may have been a vampire. We're kind of seeing a little bit of the teases of that from the opening page as we go back and forth between like this story from the point of view essentially of what may be our vampire to the story of our baseball team and the guy that kind of recruits him. I love it. It's so much fun. I really thought when I saw the cover, when I saw the solicit, I thought this is going to be a huge baseball book. And then when I saw, like, the variant cover, I was like, oh, it's going to lean way more into the vampires, and we're not going to get a good, like, baseball story out of it. And then I read this issue, and I was like, dude, we got some baseball. Like, we got to talk about, like, the team. We got to talk about Barnstormers. We got to talk about, like, we even talk about Wrigley Field in there for a little bit. We talk about going to Iowa and the Barnstormers and the tours that they did. We talk about some of the players and the positions that they needed. We get to actually see them play baseball. And they're like, hey, we're going to talk about the next game in the next issue. And I'm like, yes, let's go. We're going to have a season right here. I'm so excited about it. Can't wait to see it. Again, it is going to be something about vampires and something about horror. But, you know, what a great combination. Again, I said it on Instagram. I'll say it again. This is the most excited I've been about vampires playing baseball since Twilight. And I can't wait to see where this goes. All right, we got some other books in stock this week that I'm going to rapid fire you through. Number 1, for all my comic strip fans, we've got Eat, Sleep, Repeat. And this is a new volume of that, and they're just these 3-panel mini stories. So if you like webcomics, this is essentially taking some webcomic stories, the side scrolls, and putting them together. We've got Mad Monkey number 3 from First Comics. I've got to catch up. I read issue 1, and I think I missed issue 2, so I got to catch up before I keep going. We've got the Superman Summer Special, Superwoman Special, issue 1. Superman Summer Special comes out in the summer. I already ordered, it's in my brain. And then we've got Absolute, that's not the right one. There was a new Absolute Superman issue this week, but I'm out of it, and so I grabbed the wrong one. We've got Absolute Green Lantern out this week. This is a launch of that. I'm really excited. We've got West Coast Avengers issue 6. We've got Birds of Prey issue 20. Can we just talk about the fact that we have a Birds of Prey series on issue 20? I am so stoked about that. Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe one last time, launched this week, issue 1 right here. We have G.I. Joe Real American Heroes Silent Missions. This is Beachhead. We've got Justice League, The Atom Project, issue 4. We've got JSA issue 6. Jeff Lemire writing the JSA. I love to see that. We've got Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu issue 7. Resurrection Man relaunched this week with Quantum Karma, and this Dan Panosian cover is so freaking wicked cool. I had to bring this cover. It's so good. We've got Poison Ivy issue 32. This was supposed to be a 6-part miniseries. It's on issue 32 now. Way to go. I'm so stoked for that too. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, The Bad Batch Ghost Agents issue 2. If you are a fan of The Bad Batch, there is a series that is featuring them right now. That is all ages, so you should grab it. Miles Morales issue 32, Spider-Boy issue 18, X-Men issue 14, Wolverine Revenge issue 5. We've got the all-new Venom issue 5, and this is where the all-new Venom was revealed. If you haven't seen who it was yet, you gotta read this issue. It was a surprise. Vampirella issue 1. Vampirella just relaunched. A lot of people were really, really excited about that. No, I do not have any more of the Mark Spears variant. Two-Face issue 5. Wow. Secret 6 issue 2. Concert of Champions issue 1. And we usually get a contest of champions from Marvel. This is the Concert of Champions because it is Dazzler focused. We've got Ironheart back with Bad Chemistry. I'm really excited. This is going to lead probably into the Ironheart show coming to a Marvel TV station near you. Disney Plus specifically. We've got a lot of trades out this week. I'm going to go in a different order. We've got Tough Stuff. This is the full volume of this ridiculously wonderful book about an alley cat that's got some problems. He's got some street life going his way. Punk Rock Jesus has a new printing out. If you've never read it, this is a great time to grab a new copy. This is, I think, the first time it's been in print in a long time. Now that we got Vertigo back, it's got a Vertigo label on it again. From the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives. What would have happened if Jason Todd would not have been killed, but would have been chosen to survive? So if robodialers didn't exist, this would have been the story that would have happened. Batman the Knight is finally in trade paperback form. A lot of people picked it up in hardcover, but if you've been waiting for the paperback, there it is. We've got volume 1 of Rook Exodus. This is from the Ghost Machine world. This is such a cool story about we've already destroyed our world. We're on a new planet. We've destroyed that too. Everybody's kind of trying to get off the planet, but we had these wardens who were able to talk to animals, and now the world's getting wild again because the talking to the animals and the reality of our situation is sinking in terribly. We've got Animal Pound, the whole story in its beautiful hardcover. This was a nominee for so many awards this year and probably last year, I should say, and should have definitely won more of them. But this is Tom King doing an Americanized retelling of Animal Farm, all with animals that are just like cats, dogs, and bunnies in a pound. And if you didn't read it, this is probably one of the best things Tom King has ever written. If not quite possibly just the best thing that Tom King has written. And then, out this week is volume 1 of Toxic Avenger. This is the Toxie mini-series that came out from Ahoy and our good friend Matt Bors. It's just fantastic. If you are a fan of Toxic Avenger, you definitely want to get this. It is also going to be your groundwork for a whole wonderful Toxic Avenger life that you are going to need in the next coming of Toxie world. I know we've got a new movie. We've got some more stuff coming from Ahoy. It's going to be great. The next thing, it's been announced, so I guess I can say, is Toxic Avenger versus Jesus from the Second Coming universe. So I am so excited to see that crossover. It's going to be fantastic. Matt just brought me a present, so I'm going to open this up. This is from our friends at Comicsburg. I always love to see whatever surprises are in this box, and so I'm sure it's from Marvin, and it's gonna be awesome. Let's see. Oh crap! I'm doing that last. There's some stickers in here. All kinds of stickers for all the Edge characters. If you are a subscriber for the Edge, you are definitely gonna get a set of these stickers. Don't you worry. But love this. Love that they're stickers. I think the quality is great. Oh my gosh, these feel like really good stickers. These are going to look good on water bottles and laptops. I'm going to put them there so I don't lose them. And then I'm going to open these up. There's 2 of these, but I'm going to open up one. Edge t-shirts. What? The Edge. Thanks, Marvin. These are dope. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Woo! All right. We're gonna, there's 2. So, but they're the same shirt.
Yes.
Thank you so much. If you are not reading The Edge and you are not reading Comicsburg books in general, you need to, because they are fantastic. So jump in on that. The Edge just had a trade paperback for the first volume come out, and we're going to keep going with that series. You can add it to your pull list at your local comic shop and let them know that you need it. All right. That is all the books I have for you today. But don't worry, because Wednesday's New Comic Book Day, and there'll be a whole new round of books that you can check out. Don't forget Book Club this Thursday at 7. We are reading the Volume 1, Issue 1 of I Hate Fairyland. You're going back a lot of years. Don't get that new one. And then Saturday, you can come join me in Santiago at ImagineCon, North Manatee location. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come meet Gary, come meet Dan Didio, come support the school. It's going to be great. Thanks for enjoying this Bastante Bien with me. It really is extremely good, and I can't wait to have more. But until I see you next time, happy reading, everybody. We'll see ya.